All right, we'll check your final assessment here. Number one is just the place value of the tenths, and this one should be pretty simple. The tenths place is just the first spot after the decimal point, so this would be your answer. The 5 is in the tenths place. Other places here, it goes tenths, hundredths, thousandths, 10,000ths, and 100,000ths. So if I were to read this number, this would be 34 and 56,789 10,000ths here. That would be this number. The place that's in the tenths would be the number in the tenths would be the 5. All right, next is writing this as an actual number, 267 thousandths. One key to think about in here is there's no and. There's no word and here, so we know there's no whole numbers. So I could write 0 decimal point is fine. Then we would say 0 and 267 thousandths. We don't need to. I can just put the decimal point, but I could do it either way. 267 thousandths. Okay, we know our last number needs to be in the thousands place. Tenths, hundreds, thousands. Tenths, hundreds, thousands. 267, we have 3 digits, so it's going to fit in nice and easily there. We don't need any zeros there, so we have 267 thousandths. So if this one would read 0 and 267, 7's in the thousands place. This would just be 267 thousandths because 7 is in the thousands place. This in word form, not too tough to do. We know in our whole number spots over here, so we're going to have 5 and then we've got 6 somethings. All we have to do is look for our label in the very last place, which would be right here, and that would be the tenths, hundredths place. So it would be 6 hundredths. So I guess I could write that as a word. 5 and 6 hundredths. If you just put a number 5 or you put hundredths like that, that's perfectly fine too. But we have 5 and not 6 tenths. That would be here 6 hundredths. All right, next we got 2 rounding problems. We have 3 and 32 hundredths and 7 and 397 thousandths. Okay. First thing we need to do is for number 4, round it to the whole number spot. Whole number spot would be anywhere on this side of the decimal, so we'll go right here. Just like regular rounding, we just look to the right to see what we do. That 3 tells us to keep it the same. So we have 3 point, everything else changes to a 0. 3.00. I could also cut that down by just writing 3. It's the exact same thing. 3 and no decimals is the same thing as just straight up 3. Number 5, we want to round this to the hundredths place. So we have whole number here, tenths, hundredths. Okay, so again, I just need to look right here. The 1 tells me not to round up, but to keep it the same. Same as this, I just kept it the same. So I'm going to keep that 9 the same. Just like whole number rounding, everything to the left stays the same. Everything to the right can drop off or change to a 0. So we can have this. I could also have that. That would be perfectly fine as well. If this happened to be a number more than 5 or more, then we would have to round up. So for instance, if I change that to 7.396, 7 and 396 thousandths, and I still want to round to the hundredths place, I would underline this 9, look over at the 6. That would tell me to round up. 9 is going to round up to a 0 or a 10, which means the next number has to round up, so it's going to be 7.400, or just 7 and 4 tenths would be fine as well. But the answer to your questions were 3 wholes, or it's just 3, and also 7 and 390 thousandths, or just 7 and 39 hundredths. Either one would be fine. Few ways to put these numbers in order. We've got 6 numbers here. The easiest way for me to do this, just by looking at it right now, is I know that this one is by far the smallest, or not by far, but it's the smallest because we've got a 1 in the whole numbers place where everything else is a 2 or a 3. So I'm going to mark this down. Okay, so we've got rid of that one. Now I know that this one is by far the biggest because it's got 3 holes where everything else just has 2 whole numbers. So I'll put that down here. Now we just need to differentiate between the other ones. A nice easy way to do this is just by evening up the spots. Put a 0 there, put a 0 there. Now they all have the same amount of numbers. They all have 2 decimal places, which makes it easy. 09 would be smaller than 10. Then we'd have 35, and then we'd have 40. That's a way you could do it. Okay. If we didn't add those zeros, let's just say we didn't add those in there. All we have to do is look at the tenths place first. 1 here, 0, 3, 4. That takes care of everything we need. No tenths is going to be the smallest one out of those. 1/10 would be the next one because they all have the same number of holes here. Okay. 3/10 would be the next one. And then 4/10 would be the next one after that. So here would be your order for these numbers from least down here with 1 hole to most up here with 3 holes.